Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fiume, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, I've got my co-host and dear friend, Barry Falcon, the co-founder of Conquer Pedal. Barry, what is going on today?
Well, pretty excited to be here. We have our grand opening at Conquer coming up next week on Saturday, the 20th. So pretty exciting. 7 franchisees already sold around the country, and we're just getting started, and happy to be here and talk to our guest.
Before we bring on today's guest, these are 3 things you're going to learn from today's episode. 1, what inspired this founder to start a coffee business that he previously had no experience in? 2nd, what separates Lola Beans from the competition in the crowded coffee space? And finally, why culture and team come before everything else. Today, I think we've got a really good one. We've got a founder who is a new franchisor in the coffee business. His name is Donny Bradley. So let's bring him on. Donny Bradley, the founder of Lola Beans. What's going on, Donny?
How are y'all doing?
Hey, Donny, welcome.
Thank you, Frank and Barry. Thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. Yeah, great to have you on the show. All right, so Donny, tell us, how did you get started with Lola Beans? What made you get into the coffee business?
Oh man, well, I'm a medical device, a distributor by trade, spine and biologics. Grew up in medical device. Had a surgeon from Chattanooga, Tennessee, that was originally from Soldotna, Alaska. And he wanted to go back to Alaska and start a spine program up there. And so I started traveling up and supporting him and the reps we had up there. And anybody that lives out on the West Coast, Seattle, Oregon, Alaska area, you see all these little shacks. They have all these little coffee shacks, espresso shacks that are out parceled and on the corners of all these streets. And they literally look like these shacks that you would buy from Home Depot, and you queued up and you start slinging espresso out of it. So being up there, I got to start frequenting those, got to start seeing ones that I liked and didn't like. And there was a couple that really stuck out to me, and the way they did business and the staff that was involved and just kind of how things were. And I enjoyed them, but it wasn't until I moved my family from Chattanooga, Tennessee up to Alaska for a 6-month period. I was in between sales reps, and I was having to go up there a bunch. And so we pulled the kids out of school and we moved the whole family up there from January through July back in, this would have been 2017. And I'm an Air Force brat, so I moved around a bunch. I didn't have a problem with moving, but the family had been born and raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee, never moved, never done anything like that. And so we were up there, and we started going through this one coffee shack. It was called True Blue, and we got to know the owner, Jenna. And we were up there, and I was worried about having the family up there. And all of a sudden, Jenna's got 4 cars in each line. She's got the windows open, music's playing, she's slinging espresso, she's busy, but she's telling my wife about certain shops in town because she knew my wife had a shop. She's telling her places to go. She's asking my daughter, who was learning how to snowboard at Alyeska, and I'm like, holy smokes, this is not a transaction. Jenna's in there truly making a connection with my family, making my family feel welcome.
Sure.
And I was like, you know what, that's it. This is what I would like to do. And so, we had some of the bigger companies, the bigger brands in town. We had the Dunkins and the Starbucks of the world. We didn't have this type of concept at the time. So I had a little piece of property, and that was the catalyst for me wanting to do that, is seeing how Jenna interacted with my family and made those connections. And I said, this would be a fun thing to do. Let's do this in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
So you have the Donnie, you have like the Chick-fil-A drive-through, right? So
Yes.
the Chick-fil-A guys, whenever there's a traffic problem in Atlanta where I am, it's like they say, turn it over to Chick-fil-A. They know how to fix it. And so looking at your business and seeing all the drive-throughs and people taking orders in advance, it's all about throughput and the customer experience. So how'd you set up your drive-through to take care of the customers?
Well, we opened our first store, and it was a lane on each side of the building, which was actually not the best scenario. It was just, I own that little piece of property, and the engineer that put it on there kind of moved it over. We were going to do the drive up and you order at the window kind of thing with the iPads. Talking to Jenna after we got that first one opened up, had an opportunity to go to another location that one of my mentors, who's a business developer, was doing a development in Cleveland, Tennessee. And after talking to Jenna and kind of seeing, kind of some of the things she was doing, but then also she mentioned that she worked in college for Dutch Brothers. And I didn't even know what Dutch Brothers was.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I started studying and seeing what were some of these brands doing out there. And so I also said, you know what, we're going into a spot that's going to be a busier spot than the original spot that I owned. And we're going to need to get good at this. And so we looked at Chick-fil-A, we studied them. The breadcrumbs are out there. The answers to the quiz are out there, and seeing how people move people through. So I just started studying that. And then I started thinking in terms of, what do I, as a customer, me being the customer coming through, how would I like to be, have that, what kind of interaction would I like to have? And so I said, I'd rather have somebody at the window taking the order face to face, replicating that connection that Jenna was creating from True Blue, right there at the window. And if you have certain questions or you're first time coming through, you're not ordering through a speaker board or a menu board with a little speaker box. You are right there face to face with the barista, and we've got the menu right there, and we can.
Can I order on an app, Donnie, and just kind of pick it up quickly?
So,
Barry, you sound like you're ready for a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So we do have, you can do that through we're using Toast. We're about to switch to a system called Touchpoint, and you will be able to do that. We have not done our own app, which we have plans to do down the road. But we are really right now about, first of all, greeting the guests within 30 seconds of when you pull onto the lot, being face to face with them at the window. If they have kids in the back window can come down. We can take the kids' order directly. It's not the dad having to get all the orders from the back and then try and translate it and speak it through a speaker box in the menu board. So we're able to just make it where it's right there. It's a personal connection. You're greeted within 30 seconds. And then our goal is, if you're the 14th car in line, we want you through in less than 7 minutes.
Okay.
Hey, Donnie, I want to take a step back for a second here.
Yeah.
Did you know anything about the coffee business before you got in, other than you liked what Jenna was doing?
I knew nothing about the coffee business. I knew nothing about the restaurant business.
How did you learn how to even open a coffee business before we even get to franchising?
Well, so how to open a coffee business?
Yeah, where did you learn to open a coffee shop? And even learn, obviously you have to hire baristas and stuff, but I'd love to hear your whole story on how you even started the business from the beginning.
Yep. So I had in the very beginning, I had a partner, and medical device was kind of starting to change a little bit. And I basically told my team, we need to start this business. So I had a person that had worked for my medical distributorship that I said, he's kind of more operational minded. He's kind of an integrator. I said, Jimmy, you got to go figure this thing out, get this thing started. And then we were fortunate to partner with a really good local roaster who helped us with the recipes. We just kind of dug in and studied on what it should look like. We had a feel for what we wanted the brand to look like and the building. I had a really good friend who had an ad agency that helped me with the logo and helped me sketch out some of the building. And then Jimmy did a lot of the layout, and we kind of just got things going. And we opened up and we had a bunch of cars, a huge line. And we were like, how in the world are we so busy and we got 41% food cost and we're just beverage? We're not even selling food really, you know?
Wow.
So we had to learn quickly and start digging in. And then I was extremely fortunate. I had one of my mentors had a gentleman who was named David Greenberg, longtime restaurant guy who really came in, helped us dig into, what do these store economics need to look like? What are the KPIs you need to be kind of understanding? How do you get everything where you know what you're looking at and keeping track of your labor and your cost of goods and, driving kind of some of those top line sales and some of those, those key unit economics.
Sure. Now, how did Jenna feel about you opening a coffee shop, and how far away was it from hers?
Oh, so she's in Alaska and we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I missed that part.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever reason, I thought you were opening up in Alaska.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't say so. Alaska. While we were in Alaska, that was the inspiration. We brought it back.
Okay.
We brought what we saw in Alaska back to Chattanooga, Tennessee.
So 6 months in Alaska, you didn't see the moon because it was all sunny for 6 months. You came back to Chattanooga and said, okay, let's do this, right?
Yes, that is it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Jenna didn't mind at the bottom.
No,
is the bottom line.
No. And Frankie Barry, what's funny is this started kind of out of, I really liked this concept. And it was also out of necessity because I saw kind of, what was happening in medical device and the surgeons becoming employees of the hospital and big contracts and all this kind of, stuff happening. And so I was, it kind of started off as, we need to do this. And then it turned into, thank goodness I did this. And this is what I do now. And I love what I'm doing. And, kind of found my purpose.
That's awesome.
And what I'm doing here. Yeah.
So you have a couple of company locations, Donny, which are probably pretty exciting. So it's duplicatable. How's your market strategy going to getting franchisees on board? Because ultimately that's what you did this for.
Yeah. So, we've got a really good franchise development person that that has come on and believes in the brand and has worked with 17 other brands and is doing a fantastic job of getting us going. We've reached an agreement on our first deal. I can't really talk about all the details of it, but we've reached an agreement on a 15 store deal with a very good experienced group.
Congratulations.
That's great.
That's going to be our first agreement.
That's fantastic.
Yep. And we've got 2 stores right now, and we're about to break ground in 2 weeks on our 3rd corporate store.
Okay.
And so, so we started in 2020 with the first one, and then we got our second one going in 23, and then we had a former founder of a big chicken concept, and his team came through. And we went through talks with them. They showed me the plan and kind of what they were going to do with the brand. And that was really what was the catalyst for us looking at franchising is, how they were going to roll it out, what they were going to do.
Sure.
They would have absolutely executed. They wanted 93% of the brand, and I just wasn't quite ready to do that. And then I had a buddy who had started ASP Pools and had sold to Authority Brands, Stuart Vernon. And he kind of looked at this with me and kind of got it going, which led to getting us in touch with a really good franchise development person that's kind of taking it from there and really getting us out there and having these awesome discussions and getting us going.
Awesome. Donny, tell me about your strategy of continuing to open company-owned locations. Is that where we're headed to, where you're going to continue to open corporate locations and franchise, or at one point you plan on capping that and just going straight up selling franchise locations?
Yeah, I think with the corporate locations, we're looking at continue to develop the Chattanooga market and go up toward Knoxville, and then have a good number of corporate stores and be able to like we're in it with our franchisees, right? We want to be testing things out and trying things on the corporate level kind of before we roll it out. Yeah, that's the plan, is to, that's what I saw from the bigger group, is they were going to have a, kind of a smaller ratio of corporate stores, but they were going to open corporate stores and then franchising.
Mm-hmm. Well, Barry, you've been obviously a franchise consultant for many years, and you're the one that gets the phone call often when somebody's looking to franchise their business. What are some of your thoughts on people opening company-owned locations? How many is the right number, you think, before they franchise?
Well, I mean, usually at least one that's successful, but the key metrics is the one or two or three open? Are they profitable? Is the business duplicatable? And in your case, Donny, the supply chain is absolutely critical, right? Because it's a very competitive market. So if you're in a good real estate play where you can get cars in and out easily, that's great. But there's more than one coffee franchise already in the country. And so I like to look at it as just what's the unique selling proposition? And so why Lola Beans versus 15 other coffee places, right? And so is it the beans, is it the recipe, or is it the service, right? As we talked about Chick-fil-A on the drive-thru, they're all about the service, right? Yeah, they have a good product, but I wouldn't say it's gourmet, but it's about the service. Mm-hmm. And so, Donny, is a differentiator your service, or is it the coffee beans themselves? So how do you grow to get multiple franchisees and then also handle the supply chain from a small Chattanooga, a supplier?
Yeah. No, so Barry, that's a great point. In terms of on the supply chain side, we've brought in a consultant that has helped us really go. We went from 196 SKUs to 126 SKUs, and we have gone from 6 or 7 different vendors to going down to basically 2 vendors at this point. And we are going to tighten that up in order to be able to scale. What we had before, so after we got the kind of encouragement from people looking at this as franchisable, we've spent the last year and a half, 2 years getting ready to franchise and getting the unit economics right and the supply chain correct and what you're talking about. And then I think having a great cup of coffee is just table stakes. It's just your entry into the game. Correct. Right. But what really sets us apart is who we hire, how we pour into the people that we hire, how we train them, how we take care of them, and then how they interact with our guests. Sure. And it's the bean team is what's going to absolutely make the difference, and we are, we look at this as, we're a team that feels like a family. So we've got kids that are taking pride in their performance. It's a culture. It's a performance driven culture. It is, we're looking for those, when we interview, I'll ask them, well, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? What's your plan? And a lot of these kids are in college. So there's kids that, don't know. Right. But you really want those people that have plans for themselves and are wanting to do things and wanting to achieve things. And if I can pour into these kids and hire the best kids available and then give them the tools to be successful, they're going to take care of the guests.
Well, you give them some of those kids might be franchisees. And if you do some creative financing with them to get started, they'll remember you for the rest of their lives. Yep, and then you'll have an impact in the community of doing good. And, everybody can make money, but doing good and giving back is really, really important. Then you take some of those teenagers and then have them as assistant managers and regional managers, and then they become a franchisee. That's what it's all about. And then you're a pretty proud person mentoring others.
Yeah. No, Barry, that is it. I'd love one day in my office to have a wall of pictures of people that went from part-time to ownership.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And that's kind of be like our Hall of Fame.
So what keeps you up at night, Donny?
What keeps me up at night is being able to put together a team that supports franchisees correctly and helps them with making sure they have great store economics, that they feel supported, they're great validators of the brand, and they want to continue to tell the story. So how do we do that correctly? And what does best in class franchise support look like?
Yeah. Well, we know we can never give enough support, for sure. And for me, one of the surprises, I don't know, Barry, if you've experienced this as well, but for me, one of the big surprises is that I assumed I had to really train or focus on training franchisees on the actual operations of the business, where the fact of the matter is most of my franchise owners, if not almost all of them, it was the first time they ever bought a business. And so I had to teach them, go back to the basics of what it was like being a business owner. And I think that's something that a lot of us overlook, because we're franchising our business and we're so focused on delivery of that product or service. But the fact of the matter is we're teaching people how to run a business. And that's completely separate than just being in the coffee.
No. I was a franchisor, and I am now, but of a large brand in the home service business. And we always got phone calls from franchisees about, how do you do things on QuickBooks? And so they didn't know anything about they're running a business for the first time. In their corporate job, they had accountants and they had secretaries and admin support. And so they're asking me about, how do I do the printer settings? And I said, I'm not the Intuit help desk. But the light bulb went on and said, okay, we got to get franchisees out of the bookkeeping business. Right. And so then we mandated bookkeeping service. So then the franchisee can get a P&L at the end of every month, but they're not spending their time trying to figure out how to pay bills, how to balance the checkbook, how to download credit card, transactions. They're out there in the community, shaking hands, promoting the brand, which is what Chick-fil-A does, out in the community doing that. And so you train the franchisees on the business, but give them the tools to succeed. And that business owner that owns a coffee shop doesn't need to be doing debits and credits on Friday afternoon. That doesn't help the brand grow. Have a bookkeeping service, and then let them go out there and train their employees, their staff, get out in the community, do good things, give back, and get that brand awareness out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because quite honestly, the franchisees are too expensive to be doing things like that, right? They're too valuable.
Correct.
Where they can pay a service, or get something off the shelf to operating the business. That's a big miss, I think, for a lot of folks.
And Donny, you're open how many days a week? Morning till night?
We're open 7 days a week.
Okay. So we're starting early because everybody needs their coffee in the morning, right?
Yep. 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday nights.
So Donny, it sounded like you had a line out the door right away, but was there a pivotal moment where you realized, hey, we're onto something big here besides, just having the line out the door?
Well, the amount of applications we were getting from people that wanted to work there. And I remember meeting one of the girls, I met her mom, and her mom was like, hey, Donny, thanks for building this business and creating an awesome place for my daughter to work.
Sure.
And they literally were just super happy that their daughter, and I'm like, you know what? I was like, this is it. I mean, both of my daughters work there, and my son works there also. So I'm like, I think we've got something here. We're getting 30 to 40 applications a month. The people that work there are becoming friends. They do stuff outside of work together. And, all that good energy just carries over to the guests, and the regulars that come through get to know everybody. It just kind of, that's when I knew we were onto something, because everybody had told me, you're crazy for going into QSR and fast food. You're going to be dealing with labor, and you're going to be dealing with, blah, blah, blah. And for me, that has been just the absolute best part of this job. It's what, now it's up to me to say, how do I get better at giving them tools and pour into these kids?
Sure.
And make this, while they're here with us for this 4 years, if they go on to something else, how do I make it where they have tools they take with them?
Sure.
Or how do I create a business that creates opportunity for them to stay with us and continue to grow? So that's where we are now.
What type of person do you think is going to be the best chance of success in your franchise system?
Somebody that wants to connect with their community, that wants to be a servant leader and has a heart for kids. our person that put together the ops manual, and I'm still amazed at how detailed you have to be on every single thing that you have to spell out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm thinking, this thing is so spelled out that, a former football coach could come in and could pour into these kids and build a team and teach them leadership and teach them different things and be successful, as well as, really good multi-unit operators that have done it before and have the restaurant experience. So it's gonna boil down to just high character, high quality people that come into the brand and help us drive what we want to drive and the culture that we want to promote.
Yeah, you're promoting Ritz-Carlton or Nordstrom's kind of service versus Walmart or Kmart, right? And so that even if your pricing is competitive or a little higher, the people won't mind paying for the service, right? The service, the interaction. So, it's all about people, right? Life's all about people and it's people's experience. And I'm sure your staff is trained when you have an irate customer, what do, right? For some reason, they got too much sugar or too much milk in the coffee. And how do you solve those challenges? That's what makes a good leader, which if you're training your folks, to give them the freedom to do it, to give them the freedom to do whatever they have to do to make it right for the customer. We're talking a couple of dollars of coffee. It's not a $5,000 fix, right?
Right. That's it. It's actually an opportunity. It's an opportunity. If we handle complaints correctly, it's an opportunity to endear them to our brand because they see that we care and, we want things right for them. So yeah, no, you're dead on.
Do you have a loyalty program for your customers?
We do. We sure do. It's point based. As you come through, you accumulate points and get free drinks and.
Nice. Donny, what's the investment range to open a location?
So right now it's in the between 770 and about 1.2.
Okay.
And so we're seeing it kind of closer to that one. And this is if you were to this is not including the real estate. So if you were to do a ground lease and then do the build out and soft cost and a grand opening and then 3 months of operating expenses, you're going to be kind of in that million to 1.1 range.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you if you have a financial performance, or representation or item 19 in your FDD where people can see the numbers.
We do.
Okay, yes. Great.
Yep. And we're looking forward to updating the item 19 this year.
Nice. So. Donny, what's the average footprint size of a location?
So we're between 510 and 625 square feet. I think we're going to go, the new store will be about 625 square feet. So we're keeping the square footage low.
But you got to have drive-through. That's mandatory, right?
Drive-through only. Yes. The new store will be able to stack 26 cars.
Okay.
So we have good stacking at the new location. And we're excited about how that stacking works and how it comes around and how we're going to be able to create an escape lane and also create a future technology lane. So there's some things that we're excited about with the new layout. The Cleveland store lets us stack about 14 to 16, and sometimes we have some issues where it starts backing off a little bit, and but this new layout, I think, is going to kind of solve some of that problem a little bit. And yeah, we're excited.
So how's the drive-through work when it's pouring outside? Is it covered?
It's covered when you get up to the building. So as you come up to the building, there's a cover that you come underneath. And yeah, we put the raincoats on and we get out there and and if it's absolutely pouring, we can adjust a little bit and wait till you get up, so nobody's getting wet.
The coffee warriors, man.
Yeah. Hey,
they're doing whatever it takes.
They're tough. They're awesome. They get it done.
Cool.
They are amazing.
Donnie, you got so much exciting stuff going on, right? We've got the company on locations. We got the new one coming. We've got this huge multi-unit operator that you're about to, I guess, about to officially sign on, right?
Yes.
15 locations. Where do you see this business going over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I'm wanting to grow based on finding quality people. So I am not in a. I mean, we obviously want to grow this brand. We're going to grow this brand. But we're going to do it based on finding really good real estate and finding really good operators to join the brand. I love what Truett Cathy did with Chick-fil-A, and he had Popeyes chicken buying churches, and he had KFC, and they were all adding stores left and right, and his board wanted him to speed up because they were getting left behind, and he made the statement of, we need to be the best and then we'll become the biggest, but we need to
I agree with that.
So I think it's going to be finding the right people to join the brand, and I'm in this for the long haul. I love what I'm doing. Lola Beans, my middle daughter is Lola. Her nickname growing up since she was a little baby was Lola Beans. And so this is a family-owned business. I'm looking to, this is a legacy play. I'm looking to create a significant brand that has impact on people for a long time. So I think if we do the right things for the brand and find the right people, we'll grow at the rate we need to grow.
How do you address the question you get from people? I mean, look, it's the coffee business. It's competitive. I'd love to hear your take on when somebody says, well, why should I buy a Lola Beans franchise? There's so many coffee, franchise opportunities out there. What truly makes Lola's different?
It goes back to the team and the culture. I'm a big believer of culture defeats strategy. And I think the way we are interacting with our team, I think it's a combination. I think it's multi-layered, actually. And so, I also think that if you are a potential franchisee right now, you have an opportunity to come in and get some really good territory. You have an opportunity to come in and be a franchise partner and bring some insight to the brand and help us continue to grow. I'm more of the visionary side and kind of lean more visionary. And I know there are a lot of awesome, amazing people out there that are operators and integrators and have good ideas that can help me grow this brand. So, we're able to see, where we are from a unit economics. I mean, it's not, we know where we are. We know what we're doing right now. We know what our competitors are doing. I know what the car counts are, right? We're just getting started. It's, the more resources we get and the more franchise partners we bring into this brand, it's just going to continue to grow. We're going to compete. And I always say it's hard to beat a bunch of people that care about each other and are having fun with what they're doing. So
sure. And your 3 kids working in the business, they're learning it from the ground up, I'm sure, right?
They are learning it from the ground up.
Right.
Yes, they are.
Donnie, one of the things I picked up on our conversation here today that it really has to be said. I'm thinking about it from somebody that would be interested in opening a franchise. This can't be overlooked. And that is, I've talked to many, many founders, right? I probably have done, I don't know, Anthony, we've done like 200 interviews, right? In 2 years.
Easy.
There are founders that can't get out of their own way. And I love founders, right? I was one myself. But what I see something different about you, you've made it very clear, is that you took a vision and it wasn't just you, and this business is not about you. You've made it very clear that you found other people, integrators, to help you really build this thing. And you said that from the very beginning. And I think realizing, obviously, culture is, culture eats strategy, right? Yep. Every day. Yep. But secondly, you realize that this is more than you and that you needed a team. That's how you grow a franchise system. That's how you build a rock solid foundation that can be a really successful brand, not just a charismatic founder that thinks it's all about him or her and is the end all be all. Those people burn out.
Yep. No, Frank, that's it. I know there's people with more experience than me out there. There's people that I've gotten to see. I've had coaches that have kind of poured into me over my life playing sports. Mm-hmm. I've seen some of my kids' coaches and the impact that they can have. And I have this feeling of we can do this, and it goes back to the whole great coaches have a trophy case full of trophies, and significant coaches have players that come back and thank them for what they did for them while they were under their program, and the tools that they helped share them with. And I think for us, that's what we want to accomplish here. And I think if we find the right people, and we build the right team, and we keep pouring back into this, it can be significant. It will be a significant brand, and we're not afraid to compete, and we're competing just fine right now.
Oh yeah. Barry, what are some of your final thoughts? I mean, you've been, consultant for many years. You've franchised people. Give me your take.
I mean, my take is, it's all about the service and the customer experience, because even a mediocre product with a great experience, people come back. If they have a great product, but not a good experience, they don't come back.
True.
So Donny, you're doing the right things from building from the ground up. It's all about the experience. It's about the culture. You have a lot of young people on the team. A lot of companies also now hire seniors or baby boomers because they're looking for something to do, and they have experience of dealing with customers. But, you're laying the foundation right for growth and controlled growth. So you don't have to go too fast. You go at your own pace, just like Chick-fil-A did, and then you'll be successful. And either you'll have it as a legacy, or somebody's going to knock on your door and say, "Hey, Donny, do you want some generational wealth? We'll write you a check, and you could still stay on board." Frank and I have both exited franchise companies. I've exited 3 times already, and it's always fun, and the people behind you just kind of keep the brand going. But I think you're doing, from my 25 years of franchise experience, you're doing a great job on the foundation, training the people the right way, and really showing that you care versus just selling coffee.
Yeah.
That's it.
Amen.
I think Lola Beans knocked the entrepreneur out of me. I'm actually trying to, I'm now learning how to be a business owner versus an entrepreneur looking to just start up another business after I get this one built. So I've got
Good for you. This is your legacy, baby.
Me. Yeah, it is. I say Lola Beans cured me from being an entrepreneur. Now I got to learn how to be a business owner. Let's do it.
Nice. All right, Donny. Look, if someone was interested in learning more about Lola Beans, where do they go to get more information on this franchise?
Yeah, they go to our website, which is just lolabeans.com, and we've got a franchise tab on there. And then I'm on LinkedIn, Donny Bradley, founder, lolabeans.com. So I'm
awesome.
Trying to be out there on LinkedIn.
Sweet. Donny, thank you so much for being on the show. Barry, thank you for being my co-host.
No problem.
Great seeing you again. And guys, great show. Thanks again. I appreciate it. And Donny, I wish you all the best and continued success with Lola Beans.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Donny. Thanks, Frank.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.